Today is the first day of autumn, which I hate. It's getting so cold. Today's not going to be too bad. It's going to be 18, but like when the wind comes, it feels like 10, so not ideal. But aside from that, today I am going to Bear Beauty Nurse again. Because we are going to top up my nose and chin filler. The results are really good. Like, it's been like 2 months since I had it done originally. And reason for the top up is because it just settled a lot on me. Like, it really is kind of like not as prominent as it was like the first like week I had it done. And overall, I feel like I really loved that initial result compared to like what it looks like more settled in. So we're gonna give it a boost. I never really told anyone this, but I use this car share rental service to get around when I really need to go somewhere and have a car for more than like an Uber ride. You know, like Uber is just like so annoying. And this ends up costing, if anything, less than getting like an Uber to my location and then an Uber back. So I really prefer this. Like if I have it for like an hour, 2 hours, it's only like $30. So reasonable. The thing about this car though, like of course, since we're in like a COVID world, there are some risks, like if you're comfortable taking like a car share like this or not. Like I always like have hand sanitizer on me, so like once I'm done in the car and before I go in, I sanitize my hands, don't touch my face, things like that. And overall, like I've been fine. We've been using this car like throughout the whole pandemic, like this kind of car share program for the whole time, and it's been totally fine. Downside is sometimes they do like come a little bit like dirty. This one's pretty clean. I feel like it was recently cleaned because it's a car I also haven't used before. Like it's a newer model, it seems like. I don't really know how to start it. It's one of those push button cars, but otherwise like sometimes they come a little bit dirty. Like I've noticed there's been plenty of times where I rent these cars and you get in and it smells like weed. And I'm like, can you not smoke in the car, please? But yeah, otherwise it's fine. So yeah, I'm gonna head over to Bear Beauty Nurse. I'm excited. Like, so here is the before and after. So you can see like the nose here is still quite risen, but I just really loved that immediate result I have. And the nose is still like more elongated, but also again I liked that really like pointed look it had originally. So we're just gonna top that up a little bit today. But I think like overall she used maybe like total amount of filler, 1/4 of a syringe for like both the chin and the nose, so really barely anything. So we're gonna just top it up again and maybe the total would be like half a syringe. We just stopped by a new bubble tea place. Apparently it's the first one in Canada, called Yoti. I don't know, is it Taiwanese? Let me know if you guys are familiar with it, because I've never heard of it before. But I got the Okinawa milk tea. Could use more sugar. I just stopped by the St. Lawrence Market so I can get some pictures. I actually haven't been up on the rooftop part of it for like since a year, probably. Actually, no, I think early in the summer we ate up here really quick. But it's always nice. It's always nice. It's cold though, so I wanna go home. But you guys said you wanted to see more walking and talking videos, so here I am walking and talking, and it's cold. So that's what's up. I'm gonna go home, make some dinner, chill. I spent most of the day filming and whatnot. But yeah, it's cold. And I spilt on myself already. Today is a day of getting things done for our move overseas. So today we have to get our international driver's license applications in at CAA, because apparently in Greece you really are recommended to get a car, which I found out by watching some YouTube videos, to get around, because they don't really have the best public transit outside of Athens, and there's a lot of instances where you're going to need a car to get around. So figured it's best that we get our international driver's license, which is pretty easy in Canada, and it's better to get it done before you are overseas because it costs a lot more and it's a lot more difficult to get it when you're in the country rather than when you're in your original home country. So that's what we are doing today. It only costs like $25 and it's a simple go in, submit your 1-sheet application and done. So yeah. And And I think the CAA where you drop off the form for your application is at Spadina, if anyone's wondering, Spadina in Adelaide. So that's where we're headed today. We just stopped in at this place called What a Bagel. My boyfriend recommended it, said it's pretty good. I've never had it before, so we'll see how it is. It's really nice. I am back home now. So basically while we were out, like I said, we went to CAA, the Canadian Automobile Agency or Association, and got our international driving licenses. It was kind of annoying though, because when we got there, I didn't realize that we needed to bring 2 passport size photos. We only brought 1. So while we were there, we ended up having to get our photos taken anyway, which added an additional charge to the fee of getting it. But overall, it wasn't like too much. It was just an additional $15 to get that done, which I didn't really mind. A little bit annoying, but oh well. We got our international driving licenses, which are valid for 1 year. Apparently if we needed to renew it, which we're probably not, you can do that via mail, and it costs like $25 or something, so not crazy at all. But yeah, so I'm glad that we did that. It was really, really easy. I didn't even realize that we would get them on the spot. So that literally is the driver's license. That's it. The only catch is that you have to have your real driver's license on hand when you have that on hand while driving, so you have to have both with you. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Glad we did that, because now we'll be allowed to drive in Greece or whatever country we go to, we can drive. While we were at it, we also went and got passport photos in general, because we need 2 for when we apply for our Greek working holiday visas or youth mobility visas, they call it there, even though it's the working holiday visa. So we got a bunch of passport photos, which was an additional charge. It was a little bit expensive because we both need 2 for the application process. Then after being in Greece for 3 months, you have to apply for your ARC, Alien Residency Card, which validates you or legally allows you to remain in the country for the duration of your visa. So you have to do that after 3 months of being there. And then when you fill out the paperwork for that, you need 3 passport size photos. And I'm not like, when we're in Greece, it's going to probably be a headache to find somewhere to do that for us. So might as well like get that all done now while we're doing it. So it was a little bit of an extra cost, but now we have everything. So when the time comes and we do need them again, it's not going to be an issue at all. We can just bring our paperwork to the immigration center and get that done 3 months in. So yeah, we got a lot off the list for things we needed to do for our move today. We also have 2 people coming to pick up some of our furniture that we're selling online. So our kitchen seating and then also our patio decking is going to go within the next day, which is really, really convenient as well. So a lot of stuff is ticked off the list. Unfortunately, we couldn't do our actual Greek visa applications today because we didn't realize that the Greek embassy in Toronto closes at like 2 p.m. so early. So we have to call in tomorrow and make an appointment. But that's kind of like the beginning steps of moving to Greece for like a year. We're only going to be staying 6 months, but if you did want to like live there for a year as a Canadian, it would be a similar process that you would have to go through. So pretty much on the right path to being able to successfully move to Greece. We also have to do medical checks as well and a COVID test. So you need a medical certificate stating you're healthy, and of course the COVID test alongside that. So a lot to do, but if you just make the appointments, it's really not that hard. So I'm glad we got a lot of stuff off the list today, but I'm a little bit tired from walking around and whatnot, so I'm gonna take a rest, maybe get some videos edited. Today is another packing day. came to Pho Bistro for dinner tonight. I guess it's kind of an early dinner. I think it's like, what, 4 o'clock? But I feel like the past week our dinners have been around 4 o'clock, which I don't mind. It's been pretty good. But yeah, it's the first time I've dined in here in a while, and they have dividers up, which is nice. I swear, he's not even thirsty. He just, anytime there's water, he's gotta just drink it. To the usual bubble tea, weekly break, multiple times a week break. Pardon my greasy looking hair, but tonight for dinner I'm making budae-jjigae, which is one of my favorite Korean stews. Technically it's translated to like army-based stew, which is kind of like potluck almost. It's like a mismatch of like staple Korean ingredients and you just turn it all into a stew. So essentially it's like dashi broth with soy sauce, a lot of garlic, not gochujang, you know, the Korean red pepper paste. I always forget what this is called in Korean. That, you can add some honey, which I'm gonna do because I like it a little bit sweet, and then a bunch of kimchi, spam, and then also usually you add like cut up hot dogs, but I don't have any of those right now, and then like a side of rice. And you can also add in a slice of cheese, like square cheese, the processed stuff, but I don't have that on hand. And then also ramen noodles, but I don't know if I want to add those because they're not really the best for you, but I might add them anyway. So that's what's for dinner tonight. So that's what it looks like. Not really the prettiest, but I'm trying to like cook down the kimchi a little bit because I don't remember when I bought it. Like, I definitely bought it in the summer. It looks fine. Kimchi lasts like a long time, but just in case, I want to cook it down. So basically all the flavoring is already added in there. I just need to add some honey and then water, and it's pretty much set. It's funny because like every time I put my food on this little tabletop that we have, and I keep forgetting we no longer have seats, so I can't sit and eat my food here. I have to like eat on the floor. But the budae-jjigae is ready and I'm excited to eat it. I think I made it a little more spicy than what I can handle, but that's okay because spice helps with stress. So we'll see how it goes. It's a little too hot for me to eat right now, so I'm just gonna wait a minute. So delicious. Oh, it's been so long since I've had budae-jjigae. You guys don't even know. I don't even know the last time I had budae-jjigae. I don't know why. I never cook it, even though it's so easy to make because it's like mostly ingredients I already have around the house anyway. Because like my diet, if you haven't noticed, is very Asian influenced, either Korean or Japanese. So the two countries that I lived in for a while, so very influenced by those countries. But it's so easy to make. Also, I'm gonna have my favorite cookies now. These are Lotus cookies. If you're in North America, you might not be super familiar with them. I've only ever had these in Korea or Japan or Australia on the rare occasion that I could find them. Since I've been back in Canada, I have looked everywhere. I've looked in Asian grocery stores in Toronto, in the core of downtown Toronto, outside of Toronto, Asian grocery stores, in North American Western grocery stores, and I have not found them until recently at my local Loblaws. It's the one on Queens Quay East, or is it just Central? Either way, it's off Jarvis, Queens Quay and Jarvis, that Loblaws. If you guys live in downtown, you'll know that's one of the grocery stores that I have. For me, I finally saw them there. Like, you guys don't even know how happy I was. I literally like Hawkeye saw them out of the corner of my eye and immediately grabbed them because these are the best, most addictive like tea biscuit cookies I've had in my whole life. They are so good. I would eat them all the time in South Korea and in Japan. I tried to resist a little bit because I was so addicted when I lived in Korea, and I just haven't had them for years, like 3 years I want to say, and I finally found them and I was so excited. I've eaten like the whole pack. Like, they're like simple, almost ginger snap cookies, but something about them is so good. As soon as I have time to vlog this garbage truck comes. Hello everyone, welcome back. Today's a different day. I honestly don't remember the last day I actively vlogged because I've just been really busy, like working hard, trying to do my best for YouTube and social media. But yeah, anyways, today is another moving prep day. Today we are bringing our cat Flynn back to the vet for his, I think, final checkup. And this, pardon the noise, like come on, like. But I think this should be the last time that we need to bring him to the vet because he has all his rabies shots, he has all his vaccines. This is kind of the antibodies test where they take his blood and check to make sure that he actively has anti-rabies antibodies so he can't contract rabies. And then everything should be okay. And then all we need is like notices or paperwork from our government saying that he has all his stuff in order. And then we should be okay. With that being said, we don't still know what country we're gonna end up in because we are still preparing all our paperwork. We're still trying for Greece, but things got a little bit confusing when we called the embassy. Honestly, like the Toronto embassy, the woman who answers the phone for the English service is pretty rude. Like she's so eager to get off the phone. Every time we've called, she's like, she doesn't seem to know anything about visas. Like every time, like, oh, we're applying for the what's it called, youth mobility visa, aka the working holiday visa, and she doesn't seem to understand or really know what that entitles. And so I basically had to tell her what it entitled, which seemed really odd. So hopefully we're able to get that if we can. And I'm still looking into Japan, and they're still closed for anyone who is traveling there with tourism purposes. So if you're not hired by a company in Japan that's vouching for you to get into Japan, you essentially cannot enter the country. So no dice on that just yet. So yeah, I don't know what our backup plan is if for some reason we're not approved for a visa in Greece. Honestly, I don't know what's gonna happen. We don't really have a plan B country or plan C because technically Greece is plan B aside from Japan. So I don't know. Either way, the best thing we can do at this time is still prepare our documents so that no matter what country we end up or are able to go to, we have everything in order. So I'm gonna go pick up my boyfriend and our cat today, drive them to the vet, and then I'm gonna go pick up some hair dye. So Flynn is all done at the vet. Sorry I didn't get footage of him being taken into the vet. I was driving. My boyfriend brought him in, but we have been having a few issues. Like honestly, the vet that we take him to is really great, and it's the one that my old roommate works at. But like, I don't know why, but it seems there's a lot of confusion with the whole like process for getting him prepared for traveling overseas. So basically it's a multi-step process. The first step is having his first rabies shot, which he already had, thankfully. The second step is waiting like 4 weeks after the first shot to get the second shot, which fortunately he already had. So we went in and brought him to get the second rabies shot, and then we had to wait an additional 4 weeks for that rabies shot to take effect before he could get his rabies antibodies test. So we ended up waiting just over 4 weeks because the clinic got really busy this time of year, which is really odd. It kind of surprised me. So we brought him in today, and it seems they were confused about what he was going in for. So it was a little bit of a back and forth, but then they told me that we can't get his travel certificates now because they're valid only for 10 days, which I've never had before. Like I had no idea, and I wish they kind of told us this a little bit sooner so that like there would have been less confusion about the entire situation, to be honest. So basically his rabies antibodies test is going to take 3 to 6 weeks to get the lab results in. So I thought that once those results were in it, then you could get the certificate stating he's cleared for travel. But then the woman was saying we could get his certificates now, and I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense because we don't know if he has the antibodies, right? And I thought the process had to go in this order. This is very confusing, but either way, just in case anyone's wondering, I don't know if this is consistent for all veterinary clinics in Canada or Ontario that are doing travel documents, that there is a 10-day expiration on the actual travel document itself, which is so odd because I remember in Korea when I brought my old cat back to Canada, I remember I did it like a month before we traveled and there was no problem, and there weren't that many steps either. Mind you, like the whole rabies situation is completely different country to country. But yeah, this is a lot of steps. So if you guys are planning to bring your pets with you traveling overseas outside of Canada to another country, there's a lot of steps and you probably need like minimum 2 months advance notice to start before you do any of this. So yeah. Crazy. Anyway, I am dying for my second coffee. Usually I have 2 coffees a day, but not today. So I am at a Tim Hortons trying out their pumpkin spice ice cap for the first time. I got it made with 2% milk instead of cream. That's crazy sweet. That's really good. That's so good. I'm glad I didn't get it with cream. That would be way too heavy. It's pretty sweet, but pretty good. So I'm not home yet from running errands, but I just got a pretty upsetting text from my boyfriend saying that the vet clinic charged over $500 Canadian for the rabies antibody test. So, and we didn't even get a heads up of that being the cost. Like, they just kind of were just like, so that's $500. What? I thought maybe $100 for the blood work and then mailing out the samples. So if any of you guys know if that's a scam, please let me know in the messages, because everything I'm looking at online, it says the rabies antibody test should be anywhere from like $65 to $100, depending on if they do it in-house or if they ship it out to a lab. So I'm feeling pretty upset, to be honest, because this is the vet I've been going to ever since I got Flynn. So I'm messaging my roommate now asking like what's up with that. Like that's outrageously high. That's more expensive than his surgery to get him neutered. Like, what the hell? I'm pretty upset. So if any of you guys have done it was the rabies Favin, Favn titra test. Anyway, like I said, I'm pretty upset. $500 is not okay for a simple like blood test to see if something has antibodies. Like, I've never like, if it was me going in to pick him up, I would have said I can't pay for that, I can't afford it. I didn't know it would be $500. Like, what the hell? I'm pretty upset right now. That costs more than getting him a flight into the country, more than his surgery to get him neutered. Absolutely insane. Ridiculous. Favorite soup recipe. It's super easy. I've been obsessed with it for a year, and you can make it in an instant at home. It essentially is 1 can of diced tomatoes, half a can of Spam diced, 1 can of water. You just add the water into the diced tomato can after you dump the diced tomatoes into a pot. 1.5 heaping tablespoons of consomme powder broth, And then you can add whatever else you want into it. I sometimes add broccoli, I add spinach, and today I added a little bit of mixed grains for adding into soups. This honestly is such a go-to quick and easy meal that you can make at home that's generally quite healthy and full, jam-packed of flavor. I wanted to share this with you guys before I move because I'm not too sure if I've ever shared it into my vlog before, the full recipe, but I wanted to share it before I moved because I don't know when I'll be able to make it this easily at home again. And it is just my and my boyfriend's obsession. We love this recipe so much. I also love adding bocconcini into it, melty mozzarella cheese balls. It's so good. We're just talking about how the path used to be always so busy. The path is like a little mini underground trail system throughout the core of downtown Toronto, usually used by people that work here in the office buildings, but since COVID it's just been completely empty. New things that are interesting is we just saw a face mask vending machine for the first time at the mall. There's just cake? Yeah. Oh my god. What? This is new. Oh, red velvet too?
Oh yeah, now you care.
Well, I don't want it, but that's so cool. Since when? Canada's getting on the vending machine game. To H Mart to get some Korean food for dinner. Ordering some Korean fried chicken as well for dinner from H Mart. So good. Leftover Korean food for dinner tonight. Oh, so you can get the points?
Yeah.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another segment of the moving vlog series with a glass of wine to match the level of disappointment that we're experiencing lately. So, I had not officially announced where we were moving because I wanted it to be a surprise, end portion towards the moving series, announce where we're going via airport and stuff like that. But it's literally 1 week before we are out of our apartment because we ended our lease, in hopes of within the next week on a flight to Greece. And literally 2 days ago, we get news all over the internet that the whole EU, including Greece, closed their borders to Canadians because of COVID-19 outbreaks. And a lot of other countries also did. So now here we are with 1 week left in our apartment, no home planned out, and the inability to go anywhere else. And we were looking at some alternatives, and the alternatives are pretty limited to just South America and Mexico and the Barbados and Cancun area, but we were looking at long-term options there on Airbnb, and honestly we weren't really comfortable with the safety non-COVID related with those countries, human trafficking instances, violent crime and all that stuff, and it's just really not somewhere we would want to be outside of a resort safety wise aside from COVID. So after a lot of stress and consideration, the safest bet that we came up with was simply staying in Canada for the winter season, because we don't want to live somewhere we don't feel comfortable living and feel concerned for our general safety on a whole. And I know some of you might disagree and say, no, those places are actually pretty safe, but to be honest, they're not entirely, especially compared to places like Greece and Asia, which were our top choices for living. But like I said, every country pretty much at this moment is no tourism, borders closed, even countries that recently did have their borders open that are on our top list. I know some countries in the UK might still be open, but then again, we don't want to go to a country just for the sake of being in a country if we don't have a general interest in it whatsoever. So we're extremely stressed out, and yeah, we just kind of decided last night that the best thing is to just probably stay in Canada, hopefully find somewhere to live that allows for a short-term 6 months minimum lease, or try to negotiate one so that we have somewhere to live aside from parents until one of our top places borders open up again, which has been really honestly stressful and extremely disappointing because we have a lot of FOMO right now for this place that we currently live in, because it's not like we hate it, and it really is a beautiful place to live. The only reason why we overall wanted out of here was to have more room for work from home, because this one doesn't really give us a ton of room. So it's been really stressful. It's a pretty good wine, actually. This is a Malbec, if anyone's wondering, from Argentina. I think it's called pure Malbec. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on. So the moving vlog series has now become something more chaotic than we originally intended, and we just did a viewing today for a temporary apartment here in Toronto, and it was pretty bad. So yeah, I guess I'll keep you guys posted. Right now we're just apartment hunting and trying to, well, I want to try to fit in as many viewings as I can in the city while we're still living in the city. Because once we're living at my boyfriend's parents' house, it's going to be hard for us to do viewings because we'd have to drive an hour to get to the city just to do a viewing. So yeah, it's been super stressful and really honestly super disappointing because we had to start, we originally wanted to be out of Canada and in Greece by October, the beginning of October, but we had a huge delay on that simply because of our cat. And it's kind of frustrating that if we could have gotten our cat sorted out earlier, we would have already been in Greece by now and the border closure wouldn't have affected us. But because of all the paperwork that we had to do and all the delays in getting all the paperwork, it's really frustrating. So yeah, I'm sorry. This is 2020, and I don't know, the idea was fun and it would have been possible up until last week, honestly, for us to be in Greece, but yeah. And then I was also looking into South Korea, but they're not accepting anyone there for any visas aside from working visas, so you need a company to sponsor you to be in the country right now. Japan's borders have been closed since the pandemic really hit on a global scale, and they continue to be completely closed unless you have a Japanese passport and are a Japanese citizen. They are saying that come maybe April 2021, they'll be opened up again for tourism, but who knows really, but we are hoping for that, which is why we don't want to sign in. We're not eager to sign into a lease for a year when, say, maybe 3 months later or 6 months later our top countries become available, but then we're locked into a lease in Toronto and can't pick up and go. But I think it's gonna be really hard for us to find anywhere who's willing to sign a 6-month thing that, and I kind of want to be a little picky with the place too, because I don't want us to sign into a 6-month thing and then 6 months down the road no country is opened up that we want to go to, and then we're stuck in an apartment we don't like for a year, So, I don't know. There's a lot of issues and there's a lot of disappointment, but that's kind of where we're at moving wise, and it's going to be really stressful and really hard. This is definitely an interesting series for you guys, and I hope watching our struggles is entertaining you. So I'm going to enjoy my wine and continue the search for a home that's of quality.